A very good morning to you, Nigeria. The air may be calm, but the heat in the markets is unmistakable. And no, it's not just the weather. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun.
And I'm Samson Balogun. Welcome to Daybreak Live, where we break down the politics, the policies and power struggles shaping everyday life across Nigeria.
Definitely. We start this morning in the kitchen, quite literally, as cooking gas prices soared to 25,000 naira per cylinder. Many households are feeling the burn. What should be a basic necessity has now become a luxury for millions.
All right, the NNPC says that the crisis is tied to the ongoing Pengasan strike. But beyond the headlines lies a deeper story, a country battling inflation, supply disruption and policy inertia, of course, are all colliding to make survival tougher for the average Nigerian family.
It's more than a market issue, it's an economic signal, and it calls into question how long Nigerians can keep adjusting to every new spike in the cost of living without seeing real accountability from those in charge.
All right, ahead on the program, we'll bring you Daybreak news and later headlines and analysis, dissecting the stories shaping the nation's political and economic landscape.
Definitely, and for our big story, we turn to a matter that cuts right through the arts of justice and politics. The ongoing trial of Nnamdi Kanu, is it a test of national unity or another political chess move in Nigeria's long game of power?
All right, joining us for that conversation is Sam Nwoko, senior editor and a columnist with the Nigerian Tribune, a seasoned journalist and one of the sharpest political minds in today's media landscape. Together, we'll examine the trial, its implications for national unity, and what it reveals about the power dynamics within Nigeria's state.
That's right. Then we close things out with Trend Watch, where we track the conversations, controversies, and creative takes buzzing across the nation.
All right, it's Tuesday, Nigeria. The conversations are heated, the stories are real, and the questions demand answers. Let's get to it. Good morning, Yemi.
Good morning, Samson.
Yeah, good to have you back on the show.
Definitely.
The weather in Ibadan. At least nobody should tell you what the weather looks like in Ibadan this morning.
Even if we don't read out the weather report for Ibadan, I'm sure Nigerians...
Not necessarily, because they already know what's going on in
there's
Ibadan.
one thing, though, it might change, I mean, maybe in the afternoon. The
Later
weather might actually
afternoon,
change.
yeah,
No?
right.
That's
you know,
it.
and as you're saying, it might not be like that in some other part of
Definitely.
Ibadan, but most definitely in this part, yeah, you saw it yourself.
Don't be surprised. Someone might turn in, maybe Iwuru might tell you, rain did not fall in that area.
Yeah, and it didn't rain, but then it might be a little bit different in different areas, depending on what the weather looks like. But then east, west, south, depends on whatever it is, NIMET has for you.
That's right, that's right. All right, what are we looking at this morning?
Well, it's of course, I would love you to bring us that particular one.
It's something that has to do with, I think we mentioned it briefly yesterday,
Yes.
but then the situation has become so intense. I mean, through yesterday evening, household so far as cooking gas shortage worsens, rises to 25,000 naira. And apart from that, I think people are now buying, before initially, people were buying 1 kg, 1, 2, 1, 3, depends on the area. But then in Lagos, we were told that, it's as high as 3,000 naira. 3,002. As of yesterday, I read the report that said, gas per kg is now 3,002. And then if people can actually buy, if it's available, it's still better.
It's still better.
You have to see the long queue. A lot of persons were even sent home, no gas again. So a lot of persons are complaining bitterly that the price is high, but they still cannot get it. And Pengasan is now linking it to the 2 to 3 days strike that happened, because of the issue between Dangote and Pengasan, to say that it's just simple economics. Demand is higher than the supply, and so it will lead to scarcity. So this is the issue that we are going to talk about this morning. And of course, I know a lot of Nigerians are facing this. In Ibadan, I don't think we have long queues like that, but people in Lagos and other parts of the country, more expensive and scarce.
The longer it gets, the more it trickles down to other parts of the country.
Yeah.
But most definitely, Lagos people are bearing the brunt right now. And I do feel it's not just about scarcity anymore. Inflation has actually crept in, without anyone noticing, whether they are noticing it now. You see, gas is a major part of, the lives of average Nigerian families' homes.
All right.
They have now made it a part of their lives. There used to be a time where kerosene stove, was the order of the day. There was a time when, firewood was the order of the day. And, there was a time, I think that was, in the 90s, where sawdust and, coal pots was the order of the day. So regardless of what you use now, I think gas has taken over. And, it's just the onus lies on the government to make sure that it is readily available for the Nigerian people, because as it stands, I don't think there is a viable alternative for the people. just imagine a home that threw away their coal pots, you know, maybe 3, 4,
Or their
5 years
stove.
ago.
I've
Their
not seen stove in like,
some,
like
some
5
even
years.
some even gave it away and said, look, we have gotten past this particular one. Maybe we should give it to a family that needs it more, and then they did all that. Now imagine what it costs to buy, you know, a kilogram of kg of gas at this time. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to the Nigerian people, and I do feel that it's just at the they are just victims of circumstances. Definitely. And Pengassan and the federal government, including Dangote, should come to the same table and have a discussion. I know, I think I said it yesterday that, you know, I know for sure that Dangote will not back down. Someone has invested 20 billion US dollars on a business, and then you are bringing unionism into that particular business. That's not federal government's business. I mean, it's a private individual, and he has the responsibility to make sure that that business survives. So he's only trying to protect his own interests. Pengassan also, they know that without Dangote refinery, the Nigerian refineries are not really working fine. So it means that if Dangote takes over the market, it becomes a monopoly, and they want to be a part of that. They want to have a say. At least they want to be more or less like a leash that keeps Dangote in check. But Dangote sees them as a distraction. So he doesn't want them in his business, and they also want to be a part of his business. Now, the federal government, for me, will now play the devil's advocate. They know that they need Dangote to fulfill the gas supply in the country part time. And they also know that they need Pengassan to keep Dangote in check to avoid monopoly, because the government has failed to keep the Nigerian refineries intact. Now, this is a case of the federal government sitting on the fence. They are going to mediate between these two. You know, sometimes, you know, tell Pengassan, yes, keep him in check, and then tell Dangote, don't mind them. You know, that's the thing. But in the long, the people are already bearing the brunt. That was just a few days strike.
Imagine
how much more of if
1
it's
week strike?
That's where I'm going. So how much more of if it extends to 1 week, 2 weeks, what will happen to the Nigerian people? So I feel like you know, it's now a situation where the government has to do the needful, and it has to be very quick. Pengassan, their strike made the federal government lose a lot of money. Yes, Dangote also lost money, but in one way or the other, he has been able to pass his own product across the country somehow. But then it's still going to linger if they fail to find a lasting solution to this issue.
On that note, I think I read a story this morning where the Vice President Shettima was saying that, okay, Pengassan should actually, you know, calm down for Dangote and not frustrate, you know, his effort in trying to make sure that, you know,
he
people
mentioned
are
that,
okay.
you know,
yes.
Nigeria is bigger than Pengassan. He said that yesterday. And that's the federal government saying, look, we need this man to supply Nigerians what they need, especially petroleum products. So don't frustrate him.
Yeah, beyond saying all of those things, and then so that people can read, I think actions must be taken on the ground that is not so obvious to the public, because that's what the issue needs right now. Just like I said, we mentioned what happened during the military era, how, you know, the head of state then was able to tackle the issue of Pengassan. So I think beyond talking, beyond all of those things, the federal government should know how to handle this matter so that this kind of strike will not come up again. Because even the price of a cylinder now has gone up. Right. I don't know. In 2023, I bought 3 kg for around 12,000. You need to go to the market now and hear, you know, the price of 3 kg gas. Imagine if it's difficult for you to buy the cylinder.
The cylinder. How much more of gas?
Even if you buy the cylinder, how many kg will you buy? Because now they are selling for 3. So I just pity people who are in Lagos. I mean, because there's a lot on them. I saw the queue. I saw the video. I don't know. It's a lot on them, honestly.
I'm not really. You say I'm not particular about the price now. I'm particular about availability.
Yeah, that's another issue.
You know what Nigerians see, they are not asking for too much from the government. I've always said it over and over again. I've said this time and time again that look, the Nigerian people just want to survive. They want to, you know, be able to afford some products, and they also want it to be available. Let's take it back to when fuel subsidy was removed. You know, price of petrol, diesel, they all went up, and they were talking about the price, and at the point they switched from the price to availability. Just make it available. Yeah, don't give us problems. We don't want to go to filling stations and then queue all day, and then that disrupts our daily businesses. So in the long run, Nigerian people, they got used to buying fuel at 1,000 plus before it came back to 800 and something naira. So it's more or less like that. Nigerian people are quick to get used to things.
They adapt to things.
They adapt easily. And they don't want problems.
I think the government banks on that in a way, because they know that, okay, people are going to complain for maybe a few days or a few weeks, and at the end of the day, they will calm down. Imagine what happened in 2023 when the president said subsidy is gone.
It's gone.
I was surprised. And then people started complaining. They were dragging the president on Twitter. let me shock you. Few days or few weeks after, people were calm.
They will forget about it.
And then they started buying at that rate.
See, in some countries in Africa, you know, it wasn't as bad as this before they started, you know, protesting. I think, for example, it was the price of bread in Libya, or was it in Libya or Egypt, that went up, and then people started protesting and said, look, you have taken everything away from us. You are still taking food. We will not take this from you. So the issue now is, it's not to instigate the people against the government, but sometimes the people really have to talk and say, look, get this done for us. This is what we need. We are not asking for too much. We just want this. But unfortunately, when Nigerians protest, you know, some hoodlums will come and hijack the protest.
And that's the issue.
And then it becomes a problem.
It becomes
so
an issue.
What was meant to be a peaceful protest now becomes, you know, a dangerous one. And then, you know, some people who don't even know anything about it, they get picked and then they get locked up, and you begin to ask yourself.
For selfish interests. And that's one thing about Nigerians that we need to look at. There was a protest in Ibadan a few years ago, and then I don't know. I was actually asking why the people actually agreed to protest in the first place, because a lot of persons died due to that protest. Because why? Some persons hijacked the protest. And then at the end of the day, the intention was not even achieved. So because, I mean, you wonder when people died, a lot of persons were injured, you know, and then they'll begin to ask you, is this really what you wanted? Is this really the reason why you decided to protest? It's an issue. I just hope at the end of the day, they can resolve this matter, so that we don't want a situation whereby gas is expensive and people will still not be able to buy the gas. A lot of persons cannot go back to stove. Imagine, gas is faster, you know, it saves you from washing the back of all of those things. It makes it easier. Honestly.
Well, we do hope that the federal government does something about this as soon as possible. Yeah. This will be the convenient point to leave this segment of the show this morning. We say thank you for joining us so far. Do well to link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. Watch us live on our YouTube channel at Dominion Broadcast. Click on the notification bell, and you can also watch us on our website at www.dominion.org.ng. Now let's go on a short break. When we return with a weather report, we'll be back.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Now it's time to take on the report this morning, and we'll start from Ekiti. This morning, Ekiti is, to be precise, weather currently feels like 21 degrees Celsius in Ekiti this morning, and later in the morning it will be cloudy at 24 degrees Celsius. There will be scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon at 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy in the evening at 22 degrees Celsius, and cloudy overnight at 21 degrees Celsius in Ekiti this morning.
All right, let's come down to Ibadan. Some people are familiar with the weather, but then we still need to talk about it. Weather this morning feels like 26 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 22%. In the afternoon, 27 degrees Celsius, thunderstorms around 61%. And in the evening, 24 degrees Celsius, showers around 35%. Overnight, 23 degrees Celsius, foggy around 14%. That's what we have for Ibadan.
Right, moving to the Center of Excellence this morning, Lagos State, and the weather currently feels like 25 degrees Celsius in Lagos this morning. Later in the morning, it will be mostly cloudy and rise to 26 degrees Celsius. There will be showers in the afternoon at 27 degrees Celsius in Lagos, and also showers in the evening at 26 degrees Celsius. Thunderstorms overnight at 25 degrees Celsius in Lagos. So if you're in Lagos, prepare for that.
All right, let's cross over to Abeokuta, Ogun this morning. Weather feels like 26 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 16%. In the afternoon, 28 degrees Celsius, scattered thunderstorms, around 52%. And in the evening, 25 degrees Celsius, showers around 49%. Overnight, 23 degrees Celsius, showers around 36%. That's what we have for Abeokuta. I'm not sure these people can escape rain as well today.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's going to be, it's definitely going to rain in Abeokuta today. All right, moving on to Osho. Of course, Oshobo this morning. Weather currently feels like 22 degrees Celsius in Oshobo today. And later in the morning, there'll be light rain in Oshobo, and it will rise to 25 degrees Celsius. Thunderstorms in the afternoon at 27 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy in the evening at 23 degrees Celsius, foggy overnight at 22 degrees Celsius in Oshobo today.
All right, let's cross over to Port Harcourt Rivers. Weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius, thunderstorms around 89%. In the afternoon, 24 degrees Celsius, thunderstorms around 64%. And in the evening, 21 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 24%. Overnight, 20 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 21%. That's what we have for Port Harcourt Rivers this morning.
All right, off north, let's go to the north central this morning, and that's Suleja in Niger State. Weather currently feels like 22 degrees Celsius in Suleja this morning. It will be mostly cloudy later in the morning at 25 degrees Celsius. There will be scattered thunderstorms at 28 degrees Celsius in the afternoon, mostly cloudy in the evening at 23 degrees Celsius, and partly cloudy overnight at 22 degrees Celsius. That's coming from Suleja, Niger State today.
All right, let's cross over to Kano. Weather feels like 29 degrees Celsius, mostly sunny, 1%. In the afternoon, 33 degrees Celsius, mostly sunny, 0%. Wow. In the evening, 27 degrees Celsius, clear, around 2%. And overnight, 23 degrees Celsius, clear, around 7%. That's what we have for Kano this morning. All
right, so let's go to the FCT, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, this morning. Weather currently feels like 22 degrees Celsius in Abuja today, and later in the morning it will be cloudy at 25 degrees Celsius, and mostly cloudy in the afternoon at 27 degrees Celsius in Abuja, and partly cloudy in the evening at 23 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy overnight at 22 degrees Celsius in Abuja today.
All right, let's drive down to Kaduna. Weather this morning feels like 26 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 1%. In the afternoon, 29 degrees Celsius, scattered thunderstorms around 49%. And in the evening, 23 degrees Celsius, mostly clear around 7%. Overnight, 22 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 9%. That's what we have for Kaduna South this morning.
All right, that will be all with an take on weather reports this morning. Thank you for being a part of the show so far. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll take the news. We'll be back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Good morning. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has returned to Abuja after a 10-day walking visit to Lagos State, where he engaged with investors, industry leaders, and national stakeholders on key economic and governance matters. According to a statement made by Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, the president arrived in Lagos on September 26th after attending the coronation of His Imperial Majesty Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja, the 44th Olubado of Ibadan in Ibadan. The discussions, according to the presidency, focus on deepening private sector partnerships and boosting investor confidence in Nigeria's economy. Vice President Kashim Shettima has urged Nigerians to respect and protect the multi-billion-dollar investment of Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, warning that safeguarding such ventures is crucial to securing the country's economic future. Shettima stated this at the opening of the 2025 Nigerian Economic Summit in Abuja, describing Dangote as an institution and a pillar of Nigeria's economic development. The Vice President also appealed to both labor unions and the organized private sector to show restraint and patriotism in resolving industrial disputes, warning that reckless actions could undermine national progress. University workers under the aegis of the National Association of Academic Technologies, NAT, have given the federal government a 14-day deadline to tackle all their demands, including a renegotiation of the 2009 agreement. NAT made it clear in a statement that if the government fails to attend to their demands before the expiration of the 13th-day ultimatum, which started on October 5th, it will be left with no other option than to declare an industrial action. The president of NAT, Comrade Beji Nwokoma, added that it would not give any further notice if there was no action from the government after the 2 weeks. Away from the Pacesetter State, survivors of the Mokwa flood disaster in Niger State, represented by the Mokwa Flood Support Group, have once again appealed to President Bola Tinubu to fulfill the 2 billion naira resettlement housing project and the 15 MVA transformer promised almost 6 months ago. The group has taken it upon themselves to sponsor 88 children of the victims to attend school and to provide training for 41 widows in various skills that align with their interest, thus creating a sustainable means of livelihood for them and their families.
Tinubu GCFR that was ably represented in Mokwa by Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, to please fulfill the promises made to our people. The 2 billion and then the transformer. We believe they are people of their words.
For the resettlement of these people, we are still expecting because nothing has been done. Also, the Vice President promised me that he is going to provide 15 MVA transformers for us. And he told me personally that even if the government didn't do that, inshallah, he will do it by himself.
In an effort to ensure that the children of the deceased flood victims can continue their education uninterrupted, the group has provided school fee checks for students in 10 different schools. Additionally, school materials such as bags, shoes, and uniforms were distributed to the pupils at Kepe Primary School in Mokwa. In business, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bashir Ojulari, has disclosed plans to increase Nigeria's crude oil production to 1.8 million barrels per day before the end of the year. Ojulari stated this in an interview with State House correspondent after meeting with President Bola Tinubu at his private residence in Lagos, where he briefed the president on the company's performance, investment drive and progress toward achieving the administration's production targets. He said the NNPCL had made significant progress in oil and gas output, recording about 1.6 million barrels per day in September, the highest in 5 years, and over 7 billion cubic feet of gas production daily, also the highest in recent times. In sports, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, as a short football enthusiast in the state that Shooting Star Sports Club will continue to improve as Nigeria's Professional Football League (NPFL) progresses. Governor Makinde made this assurance after 3SC's 1-0 win over Plateau United in match day 7 of the NPFL. Shooting Stars head coach Nuruddin Aweruru reacted by stating that the team will keep improving, especially in attack. The win marks 3SC's third consecutive victory, following wins against Con Khalifa at home and Warri Wolves away. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. And that's the break news. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakon saying thank you for watching and good morning.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram at Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
I welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us this morning. This is newspaper headlines and analysis. Allow me to start from Daily Trust this morning. The banner headline is saying something very important. Parties president shouldn't appoint INEC chair. I think we've been on this matter for a long time to say that the president should not appoint the INEC chair because, it becomes, answerable to the president and can do anything that the president will ask him or will allow him to do. I think it's a bit debatable because I want to believe that we operate a democratic system of government. Even if the president should appoint the INEC chair, the INEC chair has every responsibility to be answerable to the people because regardless of the fact that he's appointed, he needs to make sure that he upholds the pillars of democracy. And whether the president will appoint the INEC chair around this time, we get to see that in the next few months, as it may actually look like, maybe a few months or few weeks, we are not sure yet. But then let's fold the arms and then watch out for how that will play out. Away from that headline, I have this one that says that Tinubu offers reduction of 2026 art fare. And I think before now, a lot of Nigerians are complaining about the increase in the price of this, art fare, that they want the federal government to, weigh in on the matter and make sure that there's a reduction so that the people that are interested in going can actually, have the ability to pay for the fees. Away from that headline, I also have this one that says 2027 courts asked to stop Jonathan from contesting. We spoke about this yesterday where some members of the APC are saying Jonathan has no right whatsoever to contest. Why? Because it's been sworn in twice as the president when the late President Mariarda died, and of course when he contested again in 2011 to win the election. Now, whether this will happen or not, I don't know why. Allow me to say this. A lot of politicians in Nigeria are actually concerned about whether Jonathan will run or not. And they are still saying, whether he runs or not, he has no chance. Allow him run, if the courts will allow him to run. From that headline, I have this one that says, Senate to debate genocide claim against Christians in Nigeria. Don't forget, about a few weeks ago, we read a story where some international bodies are saying, the killings, are much more about the Christians than the Muslims. I do not agree with this. I don't want a situation whereby, this can cause, unrest amongst Nigerians or amongst Muslims and Christians. If international bodies want to weigh in on the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, I'll allow them. I'll say they should be unbiased, instead of, pushing some certain things or making some statements that can cause violence amongst Nigerians. I want to believe that the federal government is on it, just like the Senate will debate on this matter. Insecurity is a problem not just in Nigeria, across other countries in the world as well. But then we are feeling the heat in Nigeria as we speak. We want to believe that the security operators will take the necessary measures to ensure that we curb this to the barest minimum. Away from that line, I have this one that says Shatima backs Dangote and MPCL links gas scarcity to strike. I think this morning we spoke about it on the Chicha to say that Pengasan, or let me say NNPCL, is saying, okay, it was because of the strike, 2 to 3 day strike that happened. Imagine if the strike, was about a week or two. I have no idea what is going to happen about that. I also read this morning in the news that Shatima is saying federal government is bigger than Pengasan. And what does that mean? I would love to hear your interpretation because I want to believe federal government is trying to say, Pengasan, yes, you have every right to speak about your grievances, but then allow Dangote was invested about $20 billion, to determine how his business will go. I want to believe that, this will be the end of all of these, struggles, or let me say, uneasiness between these two parties so that Nigerians can get their product when they want to. Away from that, let's cross over to this day this morning. I have this headline that says Ojulari, Nigeria lost over 600,000 barrels of oil to Pengasan's 3-day strike. Is still talking about the effect of this 3-day strike that happened. Away from that headline, I also have this one that says Barrow not will repay Tinubu's kindness in 2027. Well, I think it's left to the northern people to decide if they want to vote Tinubu or not. Do not forget that some parts of the CPC of the former president, the late President Muhammadu Buhari, are saying they're not going to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu because, according to them, he's not doing some of the things that he promised when he was contesting for that 2023 elections. Away from that, I also have this headline that says President rallies support for Dangote, highlights his contributions to economy, declares Nigeria greater than Pegasus, describes Africa's richest man as an institution, tax NESG on industrial harmony, Abubakar Bagudu, poverty elimination, $1 billion economy realizable by 2020. Still talking about, the support that the federal government is trying to give to Dangote to encourage him. I mentioned yesterday that I read a tweet on X, and that person was saying, I just hope Dangote is not regretting that he invested in his money in Nigeria in building a refinery. Away from that, let's cross over to Nigerian Tribune. I have this headline that says, alleged genocide against Christians, Senate moves to counter narrative, may engage U.S. Congress. Yes, I think I like that. It sounds a little bit better, because I want to believe that clarity should come on this matter. We should not just fold our hands and allow international bodies to speak to our issues in a way that is not so clear or that can cause unrest amongst the people. I also have this headline that says, National Convention, our PDP National Secretary may march. That's coming from stakeholders. I look forward to the outcome of this National Convention. Will it help PDP to unite, or will it cause more issues within the PDP? Away from that, Obi challenges INEC to address certificate forgery ahead of 2027 polls. Yesterday, I talked about a certain minister that forged a certificate. I mean, that's the height of it. And ministers trying to forge. If you didn't attend university, I don't think it's a big problem. There's some Nigerians who will not go to the university and they're doing quite well. But if you're in politics and you think you need to forge your certificate, to get into certain positions, I don't think that's the right thing to do. Away from that, I also have this one that says, ASU mobilizes members for nationwide strike. I read a story this morning while I was taking the news that a certain body, NAT, have given the federal government 14 days ultimatum that started October 5th. And then in the next few days, they said that if the federal government refuse to respond, they are going to embark on that long strike. I want to believe that, the federal government is on this matter already, because ever since this administration came on board, we've not seen ASU strikes. Is something that should actually happen. We should not really celebrate it. And then I want to believe that the federal government will find means to meet with these certain people. This 2009 agreement should be settled once and for all. I mean, over 10 years ago, and the federal government mentioned recently that the agreement was not signed. Whether it was signed or not, these two parties should sit and talk about this matter amicably. Away from that, let's also check this one that says, court asked to restrain Jonathan from contesting 2027 presidential election. We spoke about that already. I have this one that says, Pegasus not greater than Nigeria. That's coming from the federal government. Another headline is saying, same-sex marriage, Church of Nigeria rejects election of new Archbishop of Canterbury. Another headline, Tinubu orders reduction of 2026 art fee. I spoke about that. I think it's a good one coming from the president to see that, things get better for the people and they can afford to pay the fees to travel. Finally, let's cross over to Daily Global. Or I might still take some papers if time permits me this morning. I have a headline that says, Dangote, Nigeria greater than Pegasus. I spoke about that already. Another headline is saying, Operation Lafia Nakoa, troops of 6th Brigade dislodge bandit hideout, recover ammunition and motorcycle in Taraba. I think we are getting there. I just hope that all of these issues surrounding insecurity will be resolved soon. Another headline is saying, FCT Minister reiterates need for residents to pay their taxes. I think as a Nigerian, you're expected to pay your taxes, and the federal government is trying to implement some new forms of paying taxes. Speak about pay as you earn, and the president mentioned that this new system of paying tax is not to overburden people, but to ensure that people earning little amounts can pay less, and then the ones earning more can pay more. Away from that, I also have this headline that says, petrol remains 865 naira per litre amid Dangote's free delivery. Let's cross over to Punch this morning. I have this headline that says, Pegasus fires back as Shatima defends Dangote. That headline asks its writers, VP wants Labour Union not to hold nation hostage. Pengassan vows repeat strike if members are sacked again. At this point, I don't think Dangote will be willing to sack more workers. And looking at how that caused a lot of issues when he sacked about 800 workers in the last few days, Pengassan is saying this strike might repeat itself should Dangote, sack more workers. I don't know what is going on this matter. And I believe that the federal government has the capacity to resolve this matter totally, and then we make sure that it doesn't repeat itself, because this 3-day strike alone has cost Nigerians a lot. Imagine another strike that will last for maybe a week or two. I don't want to even imagine that. Pro-Dangote protesters accuse Pengassan of sabotage. On this matter, I think Nigerians are divided. Some are supporting Pengassan, while others are supporting Dangote. Who has the highest number of supporters? I think is a question that you will love to answer for me. Away from that, Natasha resumes at Senate today after 6 months suspension. Hallelujah. I think that, I don't know. I've been looking forward to a day whereby I will not have to talk about this tussle between Natasha and Apabio, or maybe the Senate. She's going to resume today. I want to believe that everything will go smoothly, and then she can begin to work properly. And I want to believe that she's also learned some certain things about what happened in the past, and moving forward, she's going to work on those areas. Away from that, court remands Lagos accountant over alleged 200 million naira theft. That's a lot of money. ASU mobilizes chapters for October 13 warning strike. I hope the federal government will weigh in on this matter as early as possible. Crossing over to The Guardian this morning, I have this line that says, student loan, NEFON kicks as institutions hike tuition fees, charges for profit. That's a lot, because I want to believe that a lot of Nigerian students have received, loan from this, body, NEFON, and then they've been able to pay their tuition fee through that. Now the headline is saying NEFON kicks as institutions hike tuition fees, charges for profit. A lot of Nigerian universities are also complaining about low funding. They are saying, okay, the federal government is really not even paying our salary as at when due. We have a lot to do with money. We have things to put in place. So maybe that's why they have decided to increase tuition fee. But then I think a proper discussion must be had on this matter, because we need to look at the pockets of the student as well. Away from that line, I also have this one that says, U.S. pressure triggers federal government. Senate pushback on alleged Christian persecution. I don't know, the U.S. is like in the matter, currently, and then the Senate is trying to have a discussion with some leadership or people who are in charge of the statements that said that, they think insecurity is affecting, Christians more. I think it's a matter, that must be discussed, properly. Away from that, I also have this headline that says, descent to president appointing INEC. Official swells. We spoke about that when I first started this segment, to say that a lot of persons, not just politicians now, they are interested in why the president should be the one to appoint the INEC chair. A lot of them are saying we don't want it that way. Can we have another way by which we can elect an INEC chair? But that has been that has been what is obtainable over time now. The president will always appoint the INEC chair. I don't know whether that will be changed. I don't know whether it's going to happen. It is not really a serious problem. If the person appointed can work properly, regardless of whoever is it that appointed him or her. Away from that, I also have this line that says, Awujala stool, over 30 aspirants screened as more Josu for throne. I think there's a lot to talk about. Definitely one person will emerge and of course will be crowned. Away from The Guardian this morning, let's cross over to The Nation. I have this headline that says, President to oil workers avoid strike that undermines the economy. We lost 200,000 BPD, 1.2 megawatts of power generation to Pengassan's action. Why Dangote refinery must be protected. I say this all the time. Yes, the federal government is trying by talking about this, but then actions must be taken on this matter to make sure that another strike will not come up. Away from that, I also have this one that says, local processing sports share revenue growth. Another headline is saying, this morning, APC, PDP, LP, APGA, NNPP, others shun reps consultative meeting on constitution review. I don't think that's a very good idea, because we want to believe that this constitution review will help us resolve some issues, will help us get way forward on some certain matters. Nigerians are complaining. Imagine this shadow government that Party Tomi talked about. It's not enshrined in the constitution. So if really Nigeria needs a shadow government at this point, I think this is the best time to make sure that we get it into the constitution. And if that's not what we need, then we might just leave it aside. So I think these politicians and of course Nigerians must fully be part of this constitution review, because at the end of the day, don't forget that much of the 1979 constitution was emptied into the 1999 constitution, and this is 2025. So a lot of things have changed. I want to believe that we should begin to look at another review that can favor Nigerians. Away from the nation, let's cross over to Daily Independent this morning. I have this headline that says insecurity, greatest deterrent to investment in the north. And that's coming from NEF. I think, insecurity has affected Nigeria as a whole, not just the northern part alone. Talk about Kwara, talk about other states, even Osun State, we had about some attacks, just recently. The North, yes, they are feeling it more, and I want to believe that, it's something that we can solve. I mean, Nigeria, at a point in time, Nigeria helped neighboring countries to solve insecurity. So what is happening, to us? If we can do that for other countries, at a time, why is it so difficult for us to actually, put a stop to insecurity or reduce it to the barest minimum? Away from that, I also have this headline that says ADC knocks Tinubu for retaining minister accused of certificate forgery. I think apart from ADC, Peter Obi also mentioned that, they should look at this matter. Why should they send a minister forge his own certificate? I don't think it's a proper thing to do. Another headline this morning is saying academic technologies universities threatening strike, gave federal government 14 days. I think we spoke about that already. All right, the final headline for this morning. Nupeng eats back at Oshiomhole, labels in betrayal of labor. Wow, I want to believe that Oshiomhole is going to respond soon on this matter. Big thanks to you for being a part of this segment this morning. Please stay with us because big story will come up soon. My name is Oluwayemi Adelaku. I'm saying good morning once again.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Casts. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Good morning and welcome to the Big Story on Daybreak Live. I am Samson Balogun. Today we turn our lens to one of Nigeria's most polarizing legal and political sagas, the ongoing trial of IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. His case, which has dragged through the court for years, continues to test not only the strength of our judicial system, but also the sincerity of our politics. From issues of extraordinary rendition to prolonged detention despite court orders, questions linger. Is this truly a matter of justice or a political chess game dressed in legal robes? The conversation on justice and political power in Nigeria has always been complex, and Nnamdi Kanu's trial is a mirror reflecting that tension. Arrested in 2015 and rearrested in 2021 after fleeing the country, Kanu has faced a web of terrorism and treasonable felony charges. Yet, while the courts have sentiments, of course, are sometimes ruled in his favor, enforcement has remained selective. This selective application of justice brings to mind similar figures across Nigeria's region, Sheikh Gumi or Sheikh Ahmed Gumi in the north, whose controversial mediation with bandits has drawn public outrage, but no legal prosecution. Don't forget, recently he was banned from entering Saudi Arabia. And Chief Sunday Igbo in the southwest, whose agitation for Yoruba self-determination led to arrest, detention, and eventual release abroad. 3 men, 3 regions, 3 stories. But one question unites them. Is justice in Nigeria blind, or does it see through the lens of politics and power? Thank you for joining us on The Big Story this morning. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to talk about. Sit back, relax. Of course, I am joined by Yemi Adelaku, who will be making sense of this particular one. And most definitely, as the show goes on, Sam Nwoko, a senior editor with the Nigerian Tribune, who will join us on the show. Thank you for being a part of the show. Yemi Adelaku, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Well done.
You listened to my word forward.
I think I did.
3 men.
Yeah.
3 stories. Different cases. What happened?
I think it's an issue. Yes, you give us like an historical background, and of course, allow me to take it a little bit back, going back in history. The civil war that happened, the Biafra War, and of course, when that war ended, a lot of things happened, and I think Nigerians will always say that, maybe the problems of Nigeria, picked up from there. Apart from the issues that we actually got, after the colonialism and the like, civil war. A lot of persons have said that civil war, divided us the more because of certain things that happen. The Biafra saying, okay, we want to secede, we want to leave, and the likes of that. And then, Nnamdi Kanu also is a speaker on this matter. He will always come out, before he was arrested, he will always come out to say that, okay, these are not right. We are being marginalized. And then he has a lot of supporters. And then recently, one thing that, I've been trying to ask people is, he said that he's not feeling fine. He's in the custody. And then he wanted to take like a leave to take care of himself, but then it was denied. So Nigerians are asking, is it due process, or are they just trying to make sure that he doesn't get access, to health, which might affect him at the end of the day? So I want to believe that the federal government know what they are doing on this matter. I want to believe that they are taking the necessary precautions, because it's a big issue, and then it's a very dicey one that before you even speak about it, you have to be well informed about the issues. You don't want to say things that will cause unrest or violence amongst the people, because at this point in time, I think he has people that will speak for him in the court of law. I want to believe that at the end of the day, it will be granted a release, because the matter, it will still end in court, and then the court will definitely give a pronouncement at the end of the day. It doesn't matter for how long, but then his people and then some parts of the country are saying, for how long will he remain in custody? So these are the issues that we have in our hands, honestly.
Now, let me ask you this very quickly. Why has the case dragged for so long? There is no judgment in sight. It has been from one place to the other, back and forth. There's a judgment today, he appeals tomorrow, and then you begin to wonder, is this strictly political, or is it being held for other reasons?
I think, it's a question really that the federal government must answer themselves, because we can only speculate. I don't want to say it is political yet. I want to believe that, they are trying to make sure that, no one would, cause any civil unrest amongst the people, because they have said that, he's been arrested on certain things that he said before in the past. And then recently, I don't know, VDM, he mentioned something that, some criminals, or let me say some bandits and terrorists, were actually, given the opportunity to speak. Like, I don't know if you saw the videos online, where they were asked to, sit down, like a negotiation. So Nigerians are asking that if a negotiation can happen between federal government and the bandit, why can't, there be, a proper negotiation between, Nnamdi Kanu and then the federal government, to say that, okay, really, what are you on about? What is it that you want for your people? Can we have like a resolution? Can we settle this matter? Because over time, after the civil war, these issues, keep, expanding day by day. And his arrest has even caused a lot of harm. Don't forget, we have this sit back at home in the eastern part.
In the
eastern part. And then a lot of things have happened on
Mondays for sister talk.
People will not go out. Why? Because of the unrest in that part of the country. So I want to believe that if such things can happen between bandits and terrorists and the federal government, then we should begin to look at how we can settle this matter. It has dragged on for a long time, and then regardless of the fact that he has like very, very active lawyers that are on this matter, still the federal government is saying, okay, because of this, because of that, we cannot release him yet. And then there was even a time that one person mentioned that, okay, maybe President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should just release him, so that then maybe the eastern people can vote for him for 2027. I mean, I'm beginning to look at, okay, what's the possibility of that? Will the federal government say, okay, this man has been held for certain reasons, so I want to release him so that his people can vote for me? I don't think it's a very smart thing to do.
It has been politicized.
Yes.
Now, let's compare these cases. Let's talk about Sheikh Gumi in the north, who has visibly been vocal, saying he knows exactly where these bandits are, he can negotiate with them. That's aside. Sunday Igboho in the southwest, who has been at the forefront of the Yoruba self-determination, and then at the point he was arrested. Now, there is one more man that nobody is talking about at this time. That's Yakubu El-Zazaki, who was arrested at the point because of unrest in Abuja with his Shiite group and the likes. These are linked to security crisis in the country. But then, just one man has been in detention, and the others are roaming free. And nobody is talking about it. Now, if you are to juxtapose what they did, yes, some people will argue that there are different offenses. And in Nnamdi Kanu's case, at that time, I think bettered the unknown government in the East, and then the creation of the Eastern Security Network. There are a lot of security crises in all regions, to be precise. But it is peculiar in the East because the people are killing their own people when it comes to security crisis. And then you ask yourself this question. Why is it like that? Can Nnamdi Kanu mediate with the unknown government in the southeast, if he actually has a link to them, can he stop that security situation in that part of the country?
That is if they are willing to allow him speak to them. Because it's an issue. It's a thing for them to say we want to speak to you. It's a thing for them to say we are not ready to listen to you. So I want to believe that, insecurity, or let me say the bandits in the eastern part, is not subjected to a particular region. Yes, you might see them in some region, but then I think it's deeper than that. And then you give an example of those 3 men. So it boils down to how independent is our judiciary? Because at the end of the day, we have rules, we have laws, but these are the people that will interpret those laws to say that, okay, because of this, this should happen, because of that, this should happen. Don't forget about the Natasha's case, that took us back to the issue of independence of the judiciary. At the end of the day, the judges, have the responsibility of interpreting the law. Because this person has done this, then it should be held hostage for this amount of time. Should be released at this point in time. Don't forget, I mentioned that, this man said, okay, he's sick and then he needs like a proper attention, healthcare system. And then he was denied. And so Nigerians are asking, even his lawyers have actually taken the matter to another court of law to say, why should he be denied, access to proper medical care that can affect his head, if care is not taken. So it boils down to how independent is our judiciary. Because equally, we can talk about the federal government and the president. He won't be the one to make pronouncement in the court of law on this matter. It's the judges, and of course the work boils down to, okay, it's lawyers and of course the lawyers of the federal government as well. So if you want to have a solution on this matter, can we measure what is the percentage of what he has done compared to what others have done? Nigerians are saying, okay, Igboho is working freely. Yes, he's made some statements in the past that a lot of persons are saying, okay, maybe because of this statement, maybe that's why he's been arrested or held. And then, so we are talking about that. So at the end of the day, it's the boils down to independence of the judiciary. The judiciary has the responsibility of interpreting the law properly. If a person should do this, if someone should speak about this matter, okay, this is how the person should be treated. The person should be arrested for the certain number of time. Let me link it to the issue of Showore. Don't forget he was arrested recently. Yeah. And then, it was given like some charges to say that, okay, you are into terrorism, you are causing unrest. It still boils down to the independence of the judiciary to interpret the constitution properly. So for us to have like a headway on the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, for justice to be served, the independence of the judiciary is very, very important. They are in charge of letting Nigerians know how this case should go. At what point will he be released? Will he ever be released? That's another point, another angle that we should look at. Will he ever be released? Because, his people are waiting, Nigerians are waiting, and it's not just about a certain region now. We are one. If we preach unity, we celebrated 65th birthday just recently, and we are preaching unity. We should know how to support each other. Yes, the federal government is making sure that, okay, no one will cause unrest in the society by words, because words are powerful, and I tell you, we've seen cases whereby, the World War I and World War II did not just happen. Some persons made some statement that, that made some people angry, and they said that we are going to join the war. United States at first was not interested in World War I until the issue became very intense, and they saw that, okay, if we don't join this war, we might lose a lot. So issues don't happen until some persons prompt it. Some statements can prompt some certain things. So these are the issues that we should begin to look at. Independence of the judiciary. How well is the federal government handling this matter? And the people of his region, how well are they speaking on this matter? Are they saying the right things that can appease the federal government? So these are the issues.
So far, has the government followed due process on this issue?
That's why I said, I'm not a legal person, but then it's the duty of the legal luminaries to look at this matter critically, because just like I said, the federal government, okay, might actually talk about some things or maybe file a case against him in court, which they did. So the independence of the judiciary will determine whether the federal government is following due process on this matter. His matter has been taken to court, and then we'll look out for whether it will ever be released or when is going to be released at the end of the day.
Now, he was arrested in 2015. And then he was bailed and, fled the country and then rearrested in 2021. All that under the regime of President Muhammadu Buhari at the time. He spent 8 years in office. He was the one that ordered his arrest. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari is no longer there. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has spent 2 years in office. And it seems like he has also kept mum about the issue. Like, he doesn't really care. And if that is the case, it feels like he wasn't even the one that arrested him, and then he's leaving everything to the judiciary. Don't you think, for political reasons, because election is also coming, and then one of the reasons, just like you mentioned earlier, some people have made statements, oh, release him, and then we'll gather votes for you in the Northeast. But then, should we politicize issues like this? Because most times people get to sweep things under the carpet and then they overlook it. Now at this time, should the president listen to this appeal and then for peace to reign in the southeast, just release Nnamdi Kanu?
Okay, so let me speak on that. I think the president should release Nnamdi Kanu not because of politics, not because the people in this region might actually support him for the next election. You know, we operate a democratic system of government. This is not a military regime. So I think it should be handled that way. The president should release him based on the fact that, okay, you know, having looked at all the cases, having looked at, you know, all that he has said in the past and all the charges filed against him, you know, we've decided to release him at this point in time, not because, you know, he can benefit the president in the election in any way. And then speaking about whether this has been politicized, I think, you know, it depends on several interpretations and it depends on the lens at which we are looking at this matter. Some persons, I still read some things online that will say, okay, the president is trying to go through due process, okay, you know, it needs to be spoken to about some of the things that he said in the past. You know, if you check online, several videos of some of the things this man has said in the past are flying around, and the people are interpreting in different ways. Nnamdi Kanu, without talking about Ojukwu, you know, how vocal was Ojukwu in 1967 to 1970? You know, before the matter was settled, you know, how vocal was he? What are the things that he spoke about? It's like a continuum. And this man is trying to say, okay, part of the things that were said in the past, the reasons why we want to secede, we are still talking about it. We are being marginalized. Don't forget, the northern people also came out recently. Rabbi Kwakwanso, he said it too. He said the president is marginalizing the north in terms of appointment. You know, he's saying that, okay, more, like, I don't want to say any appointment is, you know, bigger than the other, but he's trying to say that the president is trying to appointments. Yes, he's trying to say that the president is trying to favor, you know, the southern people in terms of appointment. But then how true is that statement? And then the presidency has, you know, come out to debunk that okay, when it comes to appointment, we share it, we make sure that, you know, a particular region does not get more than the other. But at the end of the day, some regions will have more appointment than the other. I think that's the matter.
Yeah, people in the southeast think they fear his influence, okay, and that's why he has not been released. But then some say, oh, he's being held, you know, to protect national unity. What do you think of that?
To protect, okay, just like I mentioned, I think that will boil down to, you know, some of the things that he has said in the past, because they feel it can cause unrest. And then don't forget, this whole matter also led to the sit at home, you know, right, in the eastern part, because of several, you know, killings. People are being killed. You even talk about Simon Ekpa. What's the role of Simon Ekpa?
I was coming to Simon Ekpa.
On all of this. Don't forget, recently was even arrested.
He was arrested and sentenced in Finland.
Exactly. So what's the role of Simon Ekpa before we even link it to the role of, you know, what's it called now, Nnamdi Kanu? So there are certain persons that are very vocal, you know, in the eastern part on this matter. So if the president, or let me say the federal government, is saying we have held him hostage because we don't want him to cause unrest, okay, can we find a way to discuss this matter? You know, not just with Nnamdi Kanu, but other people who are vocal about this matter, to say that, okay, we have looked at this issue, he's been arrested for a time now. If we release him, these are the things that we love him to do. These are the things that we love him to walk about. Just like the federal government will do for the repentant bandits and terrorists. So that when they release them, and they will say, okay, we want you to go into the army, just like what they do. You know, a lot of them have actually, you know, been enrolled in the army, and they call them repentant bandits, repentant, you know, terrorists. So if issues like that can come up, if that resolution, you know, can come up, can we also have the same thing? Yes. And then I want to believe that, you know, while he's been at hostage, he's learned some certain things about the matter, to say that, okay, if at all I want, it's just like when we talk about Christianity and, you know, Islam, I have friends across borders. It's just like when we talk about Christianity and, you know, Islam, I have friends across borders. I have friends in the several regions. I mean, I've traveled to some parts of the country, and that's one of the reasons why NYC was created, to see that people should be people should be able to tolerate each other. That was after the Civil War. So people should be able to tolerate each other, and that's why they will say, okay, you leave this state and go to that state so that you can tolerate each other. So back to your question on whether there are similarities between what Igboho did and what Nnamdi Kanu did, it still boils down to how the law. It still boils down to how the law is being interpreted. It's being interpreted honestly. So
is the Nigerian judiciary independent whatsoever?
I think there are several lapses when it comes to independence of the judiciary, and I think it's something that we need to look at. There was a time that we did a topic here, we talked about, independence of the judiciary, and we said that, should the judge still be appointed by the president? A lot of persons were saying that, okay, once the president appoints the judge, it becomes a puppet in the hands of the president. But we've seen past, the judges, they were actually very firm on their matter. It doesn't matter whether the president appointed them or not. So when it comes to independence of the judiciary, I would say there are lapses, and they are so obvious, and that we need to begin to look at them now. And they are so obvious, and that we need to begin to look at them now. The constitution review is ongoing. I read an headline this morning that says NNPP, Labour Party, APC, we are absent from a certain meeting that has to do with constitution review. Imagine. So if these people come out to complain later to say, okay, this one is not right.
But they will complain.
They will complain. Much of the 1979 constitution was emptied into 1999. Some of this constitution, some of these laws are obsolete. So if these people are absent from meetings that can make things better, then what is the fate of a commoner in Nigeria? So if you begin to look at, okay, is the Nigerian, or let me say, is the judiciary independence, this is the right time to tackle issues like that. Are there things that are not allowing us to fly the way we should fly? Let's look at those things, let's take them out, let's replace them with things that can make our lives better.
All right, very quickly, let's talk about Sheikh Gumi in the north. He has openly said he knows where these bandits are. He meets with them, and he's not hiding it. But then, since he said that, he has not been arrested nor prosecuted. Now, the question is the law a respecter of some people?
I don't know. The law should never be a respecter of anybody. It doesn't matter your status. It doesn't matter what you carry. It doesn't matter the office that you hold. The law is the law. I think that's what I see about the matter. The law should never be the respecter of any single person at all. And that's one of the issues that we are having in this country at this time. A lot of persons are enjoying some immunity that is not so right. And that's why you see that, when a governor is still in the office, it cannot be probed until he's out of the office. So that's when they will have time to probe him. But over time, what is the role of the EFCC in certain issues like this? Don't forget that the chairman of the EFCC said at the time that if he's unable to do better, that he might even resign. But then, how far has he gone in terms of tackling issues around corruption in the country? So these are the issues. The law is never a respecter of any single person that operated at the time. The law should never respect anybody. When you do something wrong, you're expected to face the law. Yes, your office might cover you at a time, maybe a governor or a president, but once you're out of office, you're expected to face the law.
All right, let's go on a quick break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. And of course, this is the big story. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, the show continues. We'll be back.
Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, and this is the big story. I have with me a senior editor of the Nigerian Tribune with me in the studio this morning. His name is Sam Nwoko. Good to have you in the studio.
Good morning. Good to be here once again. Good to be here.
You're a veteran journalist, and you proved that this morning. Under the rain, under the sun, the show must go on.
Well, if you don't have any other means of survival, you have to face the elements to survive in whatever environment you find yourself.
We say thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you. I am grateful.
We've been talking about Nigeria. We've been talking about the judicial system in the country. And we've been talking about 3 different people, 3 different cases, and 3 different proceedings in court. Now, we've been talking about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of IPOB.
Yes.
And we talked about Chief Sunday Igboho in the southwest of the Yoruba self-determination. And then we spoke about Sheikh Gumi in the north, who was visibly out there saying he knows exactly where the bandits are. But till today, nobody has said anything about if he was going to be arrested, prosecuted, or anything. It has since gone under the carpet. Don't forget that at the point he was banned from entering Saudi Arabia for that same reason, because they know he has affiliations with the bandits. Now, Sunday Igboho was arrested, was detained, and was released abroad. So, Nnamdi Kanu has been arrested since 2015. He was bailed and then rearrested in 2021. And the case has refused to end. And the question is, even since the inauguration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he came to office, he has seemed to have kept mum about the case. He has said absolutely nothing about it. Probably because he felt it wasn't the one that even arrested him in the first place. And the court should do whatever it is they have to do and then handle the case on their own. Now, some said that, I was talking to your man, and she said that some people have said, look, release Nnamdi Kanu. When you release him, people in the southeast will vote for you in the election. I mean, they're saying that to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, does that have must we politicize everything, especially at this delicate hour?
The first thing is to also look at it from the basis, which is our constitution. I tell people that it is very, very difficult. I am not a lawyer, but I know that lawyers have said it, and I agree that it is very, very difficult to operate on 2 planks of the same law. The North is practicing penal code. Penal code. So certain things, in the Kegais Club, we say is carried. Certain things will be carried in the North. Certain things will not be carried in the North. In the South, in the North, penal code. In the South, criminal code. Now, Gumi had frontally, he came frontally to say, let us do this for and with the bandits. Nnamdi Kanu supposedly is saying, give us Biafra. Stop. We don't want to continue in this union called Nigeria. Sunday Igboho is saying, look, bandits are doing this. We don't have to continue to allow it. You see, they are very, very complicated matters. Not as complicated as to what the law should do about them, but complicated in the sense that Sunday Igboho is is saying, stop this, or we take laws into our hands. Nnamdi Kanu is saying, look, we've had enough of this because this union is not benefiting my people. Then Gumi is saying, negotiate with bandits on the grounds of what? Nobody knows. What the bandits, the terrorists, and so on are fighting for, what we used to know is Boko Haram. But now with the explanation of Sultan and some other people during last Friday's book launch, Boko Haram does not mean what we knew it to mean before now. Boko Haram does not mean what we knew it to mean before now. And so, we know the specific cases Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho are charged for, but we don't know what Sheikh Gumi is demanding. So that creates a kind of complicity in our, complication in our legal system. And this is not very, very good. So we use certain standards to pursue certain standards. And this is not very, very straightforward. We should ordinarily have been on the same pedestal. All of us will be like, okay, this is our country. Law is 2 + 2 is equal to 4. Everybody goes with that. But here in the country, the law does not go as straightforward as that. And it has created a lot of problems. That is why it is giving a lot of loopholes for politicization, for even economic benefits. Because some have claimed that Many people are making economic benefits of the banditry and violence taking place in the north. Political gains now, they are prompting Nnamdi Kanu, using it as a bait to curry political favor from the southeast. And now Sunday Igboho, nobody has heard anything. He came, you said they wanted to arrest him. No, they wanted to kill him because he said so. So now Sunday Igboho is there. He has kept quiet. He has been running from pillar to post, trying to get himself back on track, and so on and so forth. So that is the problem you have when the state does not have the same standard for the same problem.
Okay, would you say at this time that Nnamdi Kanu's arrest has increased or decreased agitation in the southeast?
It hasn't decreased one bit. Rather, it has driven the agitators into the background, and they are now using guerrilla tactics. And guerrilla tactics, which did not happen before now. You know, there was a time a certain Simon Ekpa came up, and they started the militant arm, because this militant arm did not start with Nnamdi Kanu as an individual. No, it started when they saw that nobody was listening to him, and he was becoming a kind of the threats against him became so very much that people got angry. From what I can infer from some of the things we read about them, they got angry and said, look, if you are not going to listen to us, okay, let us be the way we want to be, and we don't want to they almost took laws into their hands, and to some extent they had, you know. So based on this, the agitation in the southeast has become more sophisticated. I once asked a few questions one time when I visited the east, you know, when this thing became relatively confusing. Somebody, you know, then they were talking about unknown gunmen. And I said, you are the government, you have all the intelligentsia, you know, you have the apparatuses and so on. Why will there be an incident of people shooting people and killing people, and you say they are unknown gunmen, and you accede to that kind of thing as the government? No, it shouldn't happen. And they told me, the person that spoke with me said, look, the security agencies know the gunmen, they know where they are coming from, they know what they are doing, but the powers that be have kept them from doing certain things with the gunmen. And so that means it's politicized the way it is also politicized in the north. So what exactly are we now quarreling about? It means that one way or the other, the government has not done what it should do in bringing all these things under the kind of control normal Nigerians expect of the whole situation.
All right, thank you so much. There was a time that Nnamdi Kanu applied for a leave to go and, you know, take care of himself, because he said he needs proper health care, you know, better than the one he's receiving where he's been held hostage. But then it was denied, and then it appears that this has worsened the situation, because a lot of persons came out to protest at the time, you know, in some parts of the country, to say that why should he be denied the right to proper health care?
Well, based on the laws under which he is held, it is going to be very difficult to grant him the relief he sought. That's one. Then secondly, if the case has not got to a particular end, if it has not reached a certain extent, it is very difficult to grant him the reliefs he sought, because his intention to go and take care of himself is not an intention to go to his native Abia state or go to one hospital in Abuja or thereabouts. It looks like he would like to travel outside the country to go take care of himself the way he would want to. So it will be very difficult for him to get that kind of relief. That is one. Then secondly, if it means the government taking him to where he wants to go and bringing him back, it will cost the government more, and they might have built all this thing into his cost of prosecuting the matter. But if that is not the case, then, like Samson said, the government of the day has said, okay, I am not the one that arrested him, let the court take care of it, you know. So it all looks like they have left Nnamdi Kanu to be between the rock and the hard place. So whatever comes out, they will take care of it. But some have also argued that it might end up being a political matter. Being a political matter in the sense that when 2027 politicking hots up, because now we are still at the preliminary stages, nothing concrete is on ground. Yeah. When the political issues hots up, he will be used like they used Ojukwu in 1983 to you know, say, okay, we have released him, he is one of us, he is our brother, sorry for what has happened, and we move on. Because on certain planks, he has proved his case, and on certain planks, he has still not proved his case. He has gotten angry, you know, acted against, spoken against what the laws are doing to him. Maybe towards the end of the year, maybe, or next year, something would happen on the political field to get the kind of reliefs he is seeking.
All right, how has this prolonged trial affected people's trust in the judicial system in the country?
Oh, you see, the prolonged trial had long been seen as a political persecution. And on whether there is, on issue of trust and our judicial system, I think as we speak today, you know, in today's Nigeria, there are two parallel lines. Trust and our judicial system don't seem to mix as things are. And this was reinforced by what happened in the 2023 elections. It had been like that before. I remember in 2011, in 2011, our newspaper, the Nigerian Tribune, was summoned as one of, in fact, we were subpoenaed. So, I don't know how they subpoena. We were called as witnesses in Buhari's case. And my MD was docked to speak on some of the reports we carried. And what the lawyer wanted to prove with bringing the Tribune into the dock in the Buhari matter as a witness is that the judiciary is not fair. The judiciary cannot be trusted. That was in 2011. And when you look at the progress that has been made, by progress I mean as we grow, as we approach maturity as a nation and so on, it looks like the trust in the judiciary keeps waning. And so, when it now comes to the matter of Nnamdi Kanu and some other matters around the country, because as far as I'm concerned as an individual, Sunday Igboho was not treated fairly. You know, so when you look at the issues as we are growing, the trust in the judiciary keeps diminishing, it keeps waning. And that of Nnamdi Kanu, to people in the southeast, it is indeed a foundational basis to believe that the judiciary is wrong in whatever way they may want to look at it. So the judiciary has a lot to do to be able to polish itself up and bring up the trust the people have in it, and I don't know how they are going to do it.
Because I was going to ask how possible that will be, because the president is in charge of appointing these people, and a lot of Nigerians have said, they remain puppet, to the president, answerable to him, and of course will definitely do his bid. How possible is that?
Unfortunately, the president has enormous powers. Already, one of the issues on the table now is the appointment of a new INEC chairman. That already is creating a lot of ripples in the political circles, because the Constitution gives him the powers to do that. So if he obeys the Constitution regarding that, so be it. But again, when they send you, you have to use your number 6, use wisdom in treating some of these things. You see, we operated constitutions when people like Justice Chukwudi Oputa was in. We were here when people like Justice Atanda Fatai Williams, and so on. This, I remember very well that Justice Chukwudi Oputa was the reason why they extended the retirement age to 70. That's how much trust they had in him, because he contributed so much to the judiciary. Well, all these people who are there now, when they leave, what will people say about them? So they have to use their tongue to count their teeth. All
right, very quickly before we go, let me ask you this question. Going forward, what should the government do differently on this issue?
Personally, I want to think that at this level, they have proven their case. When the Niger Delta militants were in detention in Plateau State, they eventually, at the end of the day, it was resolved through political means. I think it has reached a point where this has to be resolved through political means. If Gumi can be seeking for political solution to the banditry that has defied all kinds of solution, then I think they have to also find a way to create a political platform whereby things would. So for me, they have to use that. And secondly, the matter involving Kalmu should be handled by the judiciary in such a way that people's trust in the judiciary will also be ignited and rekindled, because the fire is dying. As it is now, it's even smoldering. It has gone very, very low.
Okay.
And it looks like it has ended already.
Before we go into just a very quick one, should he be released? With this, calm down all the tension in the eastern part?
I want to believe that it will create another kind of atmosphere in the east. The tension there will reduce greatly.
Okay.
Greatly. Because when you enter the east, the man on the street does not understand the idiosyncrasies we are creating. They don't understand the language you are speaking. The language they understand is, where is Nnamdi Kanu? And you say he is in his Afaruku home in Umuahia. That's what they will understand. How? I don't know. But the government should look at it politically, judicially. If there's any way they can find a solution, to the matter, I am sure it is going to diffuse all the tension in the east.
All right, thank you, Sam Woko, for joining us on the show this morning. Thank you to Yemi Adelakuntu for standing by. All right, it has been a great session with you too, and thank you for joining us on the show. Now, as we continue to watch Nnamdi Kanu's case unfold, Nigerians are once again reminded that justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done, without fear, favor, or political color. Until the scales of justice weigh all citizens equally, whether in the north, east, or southwest, our democracy will continue to wrestle with perception of selective fairness. This is the big story on Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. I am Sam Sibalu. Stay with us. Our conversation continue after the break. We'll be back.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or